You're listening to Big World Network.
Average, Season 2, Episode 4. Written by Jonathan Thompson, read by Heather Thompson. I tried not to treat Grace differently. I swear I did. But seriously, that's just not realistic. Of course I was going to treat her differently. But I think she was really afraid that I was going to treat her like a cripple. And that I did not do. If anything, I did the opposite of that. In my mind, she became nothing short of heroic. She wasn't just some sarcastic, brooding grump. She was a warrior, struggling against her own genetic code, dealing with the bitter irony that the exact same lump of DNA that gave the rest of her family amazing abilities gave her a chronic illness. When I straightened up as she walked past, I was no longer getting out of her way. I was standing in awe. The day after my conversation with Gail, Grace acted like everything was normal. Like she hadn't threatened my life, or at least threatened to make it miserable. It was her extremely precise choice of words that really made me take her seriously. If she had said she would kill me, I probably would have taken that as a bluff. Grace LaGuardia was a sharp-tongued, short-tempered girl, but I really doubted her ability to turn homicidal. However, I had no doubts regarding her ability to turn torturous. That I could see. We sat on our self-assigned seats on the bus in silence, with Grace staring at the cracked fake leather seat before her. In the meantime, I was going over what I had learned. Gail had actually given me quite a bit to work with. Not only had she supplied me with an explanation on the mystery, wrapped in an enigma, wedged in a Chinese puzzle box, covered in pointy sticks, that was Grace, but she'd given me permission to continue talking to her family. Most importantly, though, she'd given me just a touch of understanding regarding all of this super business. I thought back on Cosmo's theory. He had proposed a possible genetic predisposition to superness, tempered by life experiences. I didn't really take it seriously at first because, well, Cosmo said it, but Gail's expression seemed to support it. It wasn't really that far-fetched, since that's just about how it worked in the comics, but usually there was some eureka moment, and the discovery was generally separate from the cause. Someone fell into a vat of radioactive goo, and later, typically in a moment of despair, learned that they could summon an army of seagulls, or something like that. But that didn't seem to be the way things really went with real-life supers. Their powers didn't just poof into existence. While I was in deep thought, Tenactin plopped into the seat next to me. "Hey, Quinn!" he said with his big, jovial face uncomfortably close to mine. "Hey, Tenactin," I said. "Howard," he started. I figured that if I was going to have to go through this every morning for the rest of my high school career, I was going to make it productive. Underneath all of his foolhardy chattering, he seemed to be a pretty intelligent guy, and he processed information ridiculously quickly, so I decided to make him my computer. "Do you like comics?" I asked. "Sure do," he responded excitedly. "Which is your—" "Cool. I'm trying to write one," I said. "Okay, so said isn't all that accurate. Lied would be more fitting. How about fibbed? Or prevaricated?" "Yes, I prevaricated. That's what I did." "Awesome!" "Yeah, can you help me with it? I just need someone to bounce some ideas off of." This part was completely truthful, so don't get too mad at me. I really did need someone to help sort this out, but my dad was, at best, biased, and I pretty much had no one else, so Tenactin won by default. "That would be great! What's it about?" "Well, I'm still working out some of the characters. I think I want to do something a little differently than most comics, though. You know how characters usually find their powers when they're stressed or scared or something?" "Yeah," he said. "Well, what if the characters have something in their genes that makes them super, but the environment they grow up in actually controls how their powers manifest?" "That makes sense, but..." "But what?" "I just don't think it's as dramatic," he said apologetically. "That's true," I said thoughtfully. "So do you think they usually do it the other way because it's just more interesting?" "Well, I think your way is interesting, just not as exciting. Plus, it would take a long time to tell each character's whole childhood story, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would. I mean, you might as well just write a book, he laughed. I said, biting my lip. That might be a good idea.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.
You're listening to Big World Network.